Hi everyone, I'm Jodi. Welcome to my channel and welcome to today's Friday Face Off. No matter what day it is when you watch this, hopefully you've set the notification bell so that you can see it on Friday so that you don't miss it and you can do some shopping over the weekend. Today we're talking about two beloved tinted moisturizers and in the drugstore price point, which makes them affordable, and hopefully at the end of the video we'll find out that they're also very effective and produce the results that we are looking for. I think you're going to be impressed with how these wear, and one definitely works better than the other. So if you've watched my channel before, then you're probably wondering what's going on back here in the background. Well, you guys, after 200 videos, and I loved the backdrop, I thought it was very neutral, comfy type of tones, but I thought let's just change it up a little bit, because in addition to creating content for busy and ambitious women and moms just like yourself, I also wanted to create a space where you want to come and just relax. I know for me, sometimes I just need to zen. I just need a few quiet moments to myself. I need to hear my own thoughts, and I just want to zone out and be entertained. And I just wanted a comfy, cozy place that's just sort of dreamy, I guess, to go to. That's just sort of fun and relaxing to go to. So I am waiting for a few more pieces to be delivered. Apparently there's some supply chain issues. I mean, that seems like it's so 2020, but no, it's still happening. So as soon as the rest of the pieces come in, then the area behind me will be finished, and hopefully that will be by next week's video, which, by the way, next week we're going to be doing our spring tutorial where we're doing the purple eyes that you guys have asked for after seeing my spring trends video, which I'll link right up here in case you have not seen it. I asked what video do you want to see from the spring trends and tutorials, and by quite a big margin it was the purple eyeshadow look, followed up by the 60s inspired spring look. And because of the fun extra videos that you guys have asked for and that I've got lined up for you, Friday face-offs are going to be every other week, because otherwise I'm just not gonna have enough time to do some of the other content. And if you're subscribed and hit that notification bell, you'll know when Friday face-offs are, because you'll get a notification bell when I publish a new video. And again, these will be every other Friday. And after today's Friday face-off, the next one is for those of you that like a more high-end product. I'll reveal what those two are gonna be going head to head at the end of this video. So getting to the Friday face-offs, today we have the L'Oreal True Match Nude with 1% hyaluronic acid. It's a tinted serum tinted moisturizer. And on this side is gonna be the Colourpop Pretty Fresh Hydrating Tinted Moisturizer. For 1 ounce, the True Match sells for $19.99 on the Ulta website. It sells for $14 to $15 on Amazon US and $19.59 on Amazon Canada. I'll link all of these in the description box below. It comes in 14 shades, has a radiant finish. It's vegan, and it contains 1% hyaluronic acid, and with over 10,000 reviews, it has 4.5 stars. In the marketing, this one claims to instantly brighten your skin and make your skin tone look even. We're gonna fact check that, and it's said to leave your skin feeling hydrated. Some pretty hefty marketing claims, so we're gonna see if it holds up. On the Colourpop side, the Pretty Fresh Hydrated Tinted Moisturizer sells for $15.99 at Ulta. I could not find this on the Amazon Canada site. And in terms of the Amazon US site, let's sidebar for a second. I have an Amazon storefront where I share items and the exact seller where I have purchased Amazon products. Everything in my Amazon store are things that I have purchased myself and from the seller that I have purchased that item from. Because Amazon is a marketplace, it is sometimes difficult to ensure the quality of what you're gonna get. This is no secret, we all know that. This item was one of those that I really wanted to bring your attention to, because when you go to the Amazon US site and you put in Colourpop Fresh Face Tinted Moisturizer, you get a variety of them that come up. And at first look, you'll notice that the darker shades were double in price. So that got me curious, like why in the world is the darker shades more expensive? But upon further review, you'll see that it's actually the seller that is charging that much more for this product than other sellers. And there's just no way for me to purchase a product from every single seller. So if I link a product from Amazon in my description box below, please know that I'm also using the seller that I purchased that product from. So while you may wanna go and look for different shades and stuff, just try to identify the seller for the product that I've linked, at least you know that I've actually made a purchase from that seller, and that still may not guarantee the quality or the authenticity of the product. That is part of the risk that we run when we make a purchase through these large marketplace platforms. So for my part, I'm trying to at least minimize the risk and share with you the seller that I have had a good positive experience with. So just please know that. And for those of you that have darker skin tone, use the link that I provided and find your right match through that seller. If they don't have it, then your best bet is to order it through the Colourpop website or maybe through Ulta or another retailer that you trust. I hope that helps minimize the risk for you buying personal beauty items through Amazon. If you purchase them through any of my links, again, it's from a seller that I have purchased that exact product from, or else you can trust I would not recommend it to you. So now that we know how or where not to purchase this, let's talk about what it offers. It comes in 20 shades. I have it in shade Light 6W, which you'll find in the reviews is way too light for me. It also has a radiant finish. It's vegan and it's cruelty-free. And with over 3,500 reviews, it comes in at 4.6 stars. This also claims to be lightweight, leaves your skin feeling bright and hydrated, and says to even out your skin tone. So if you are ready for a couple days worth of wear tests, let's get into it. All right, let's jump in. I am really excited to put something on my face because doing my eye makeup without my base first is just not something I'm going to get used to. All right, as I said earlier, today is day one, so we're gonna put both of these tinted moisturizers on over a primer, and we are going to use the e.l.f. primer, and this is the Poreless Putty Primer. I have not used this before. I am going to review this in a face-off coming up because it's very much like the Tatcha. And I love that Tatcha primer. It's very much a blurring primer. It's rather expensive, so if we can find one that's just as good and a lot less expensive, then we're gonna do it. So we're gonna set this off to the side because that is in an upcoming Friday face-off, spoiler alert. Let's just put a little bit of this e.l.f. Putty Primer, Poreless Putty Primer. Could we have done that with anything other than peas? Now I'm gonna put this just in my T-zone, and as I get older, my T-zone's a little bit wider through here, down the nose, a little bit through here, and then just a little bit on the chin. Where before, when I was in my teens, it used to be a little bit more like this. Now I feel like it's a T that's in bold. And I don't know why that is. I guess I should be happy that my skin's not completely dry, but I've had to really think about it and adjust where I put primer. So we are gonna start with the L'Oreal True Match Nude. Now, as I said, this comes in 14 shades. I have it in shade 4.5. And I have to say, as I was going through looking for different tinted moisturizers to put in this review, I wanted to put up the two big popular ones. And the Maybelline Fit Me is no longer available, their tinted moisturizer. I went to 3 different stores. I went to their website. Now on their website, it shows it's available, but I couldn't find it at Walmart. I couldn't find it at Target. I couldn't find it at Ulta. Can I just say, you guys, when you share with somebody that you want to do a review and you're at a store and they're in the same age bracket as you, and you are genuinely asking questions because you want to find the best product to share with your community. I just have had 3 managers from Ulta, and I live in the Seattle area, so there are several Ultas and Sephoras to choose from, and I go to all of them because some have different things. But this is the 3rd Ulta manager, and this is not against Ulta, it just makes me kind of wonder what the deal is. I said to the lady yesterday, do you have this Maybelline tinted moisturizer? It has really good reviews. It's very similar to the L'Oreal True Match Nude. It has hyaluronic acid. It has the same type of coverage. It's a glowy finish. And I'd like to review it for my audience on a YouTube channel. Well, we don't have that here. Okay, well, do you have maybe something that's comparable? What would you suggest that is sort of even in price point, ingredients, everything that would be a good side-by-side review? Well, I don't know, maybe you could look at Target. They might have the Maybelline that you're looking for. And then she literally turned away and walked away from me. And I thought, ma'am, I do the same thing you do. I help educate and help provide information to other women. Like, why are we being like this? And I understand if people have a bad day, but you're in retail, so help people. So I found it on my own, the Colourpop, but we're not there yet. We're gonna stick with this True Match Nude. I've used this one before, you guys, and one of the things that I do not love about this is this doe, it's not a doe foot applicator. Maybe if I had a doe foot applicator, I wouldn't mind it, but it has the droplet. Now you can take a lid from some of your other products and put in here, that would probably be fine. In fact, the Estee Lauder probably fits in here, and I'm not a fan of the Estee Lauder Double Wear, but I did buy the pump, so maybe I should see if that works in there. But we're gonna put this on exactly how the instructions say. It says shake well, which we did before using. Apply a few drops directly on your face, using fingers to blend, starting at the center and working your way out. Can be worn alone or layered with other makeup skincare products. And then it goes on to say that it is for external use only. Okay, so please do not try to drink this. I can't just put it directly. Like, I've seen all those videos of the younger girls on TikTok. That's just not how, after so many years of doing my makeup, I just have no desire to do that. So I don't love the fact that you have to take it and look at the mess already. So if and when I do a video on some of the worst packaging products, we have an early entry. All right, so we're just going to put a few drops in the center of the face like it says on our fingers. It's been a while since I've done my makeup with my fingers, but we're gonna do it. The color's probably a little too dark for me because I use this in the summertime where I typically have a little bit more of a self-tanner on my neck. So this color does match in the summer. Clearly it has been winter and I have not seen the sun since, oh, I don't know, 4th of July. So it does go on nice and smooth. The marketing says that instantly skin looks brighter, even, and feels hydrated. I think it feels hydrated. It doesn't feel dry. So there's that. I don't know that it feels any more hydrated than the other side. It doesn't look more dull, but I don't know that I could say it looks more bright. What do you guys think? I don't know if it looks more bright or not, but it's got the type of coverage that you would expect from a tinted moisturizer. It's a light coverage. It actually, you know what, it doesn't look a little brighter. Now that I look at it with standing back from the light, it definitely looks a little brighter, and some of the unevenness in my skin looks more even, more uniformed, I guess. So from that perspective, I think it's nice. I would typically want to put on a second coat and blend it, but we're not going to do that because it's going to be summertime and we want just a light, beautiful coverage. And so we're going to let that go. But I will have to put some concealer on because this underneath the eyes is driving me crazy. Now let's go to the Pretty Fresh. Now the reviews on this one were interesting. It's very similar to the True Match. People either loved it or they did not like it at all. On the True Match, there were a lot of reviews on the dislike side. Some common dislikes about this was this lid, for sure. And then some of the other things that people didn't like about this is they felt like it made their pores look larger. Now, I feel like I'm on a soapbox today, but I haven't seen you guys for a week, so I feel like there's a lot to talk about. You know, I was at Sephora the other day, and I have to ask, when did we stop thinking pores were okay to show? And I do it too. In my reviews, in my tutorials, I'm always looking for products that help minimize the appearance of pores. But there was this picture outside of Sephora, a huge, huge poster in the window. And this, I mean, you guys tell me, but this girl looks, I don't know, 15? And this product is about minimizing the look of pores. Now, pores are a part of your skin, so why, and we all do it because we've been conditioned to think that our pores are bad and that we should be hiding them and blurring them and minimizing them. And I just, when I saw that poster, I'm like, this poor girl, or any girl that's coming to Sephora, should not see a picture that's 5 feet by 6 feet entering the store that says minimize your pores. I mean, what a horrible message we're sending to girls that, I mean, skin has pores. It's like having no fingerprints on your fingers. Like, it doesn't, that's just part of what it looks like. So I am, like, I'm just becoming more aware of this stuff, and I thought, what, that's a terrible message to send, to minimize pores. Like, and we're teaching it at such a young age. So let's pick up this pore minimizing tinted moisturizer. I'm just as bad, I'm just as guilty, but I've got to be more aware and stop doing that. Like, it's ridiculous. Girls shouldn't be worried about if their pores are showing. That's like saying your eyelashes shouldn't show or your lips shouldn't show. It is part of your skin. Like, it's crazy to me. Like, I just feel like we've become so conditioned that it's like, we don't need to minimize pores all the time. I'm done. I'm gonna stop and just go back to our review. Now let's talk about the Colourpop. Now this one says you can put on with your fingers or you can put it on with a kabuki brush. We're gonna do it with our fingers because we want all things to be treated equal. And I have it in color light 6W. And we will just go in the same places. And you can see some of this redness and discoloration around my face. So this should just give it a little bit of a blurred look. It says it's lightweight coverage, it evens the skin tone, and it leaves the skin fresh and healthy looking. And then what I thought was interesting, you guys, in neither one of the marketing materials for either of these two does it say how long it will last. If you have oily skin, you definitely want to apply either of these with a primer first, preferably a mattifying primer, because that hyaluronic acid will add moisture to your skin. And if you've got oil, you can get either some slippage, or you could just be too shiny over the course of the day. Now, if you have dry skin, both of these do have hyaluronic acid, so they should perform well on dry skin as long as your dry skin is exfoliated and you've removed any of your dead skin cells. However, the third ingredient in the True Match is alcohol. The fourth ingredient in the Colourpop side is alcohol. So alcohol is really not your friend when it comes to not wanting your skin to dry out. And even though it's in a small amount, if you're then adding a little bit of perfume typically has alcohol. If you use a setting spray, many of those contain alcohol. So even though one product that you're using may have alcohol, you may think, oh, it's probably such a small amount. But when you layer it with the different products, each of them containing alcohol, you're really compounding the issue. So just think about which of your products do have alcohol that you're applying to your face, so that you're not prematurely drying out your skin. All right, I think between the two, they both look nice. They both have even coverage, I think. The True Match is a little bit darker than the Colourpop, so that's okay. Again, this one says that it instantly brightens the skin. I think the Colourpop looks better. The Colourpop looks a little softer to me. I don't feel like my pores right through here are highlighted. There we go with the pores again. See, we're conditioned. I'm gonna try to get better about that. So I do feel like my texture is smoother on the Colourpop side than on the True Match side. And we're not gonna set these with a powder, but we are going to use a water-based concealer because both of these tinted moisturizers are water-based. So we need to go water-based to water-based. You don't wanna add a silicone base primer to these, and you also don't want to add silicone concealer, or if you use a bronzer, for example, or if you use a cream blush, you just want to make sure that the base product is all the same. So either all silicone or all water-based. So we have both of these applied. I am going to put on a little bit of bronzer because I'm feeling very pale, and we'll add just a little bit of powder blush and see how it holds for the day. And I already have my lipstick on, and I am loving, you guys, I'm loving these Vinyl by Maybelline. Today I have on number 20, Koi. I think these are beautiful. They come in a lot of different colors. I have these four. I'll link them below if you're interested, but I just love them. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of bronzer, yet a little bit of glow maybe, and this is in the Physicians Formula. Now I'm gonna go light on this because otherwise I'm sort of setting these with a powder, and we don't really wanna do that until tomorrow. We wanna see what these tinted moisturizers look like without a powder. So I'm gonna go pretty light-handed just around the edges where I would normally put a bronzer, so that we're not really setting these with a powder. That's tomorrow's review. But I just feel like I need a little bit of color. Light 6W on this Colourpop side was not quite dark enough. Normally the number 6 is a darker color, but not in Colourpop's Tinted Moisturizer. All right, so there we go, you guys. And again, because neither of these say that they last any length of time, we are just gonna go and see what they look like after 4 hours, because that's about the time we're gonna have a quick break. We'll go have lunch and we would be able to freshen up if we need to. And we'll hope for at least 4 hours. All right, guys, so we are here for our 6.5 hour check-in, and I have been inside, I've been outside, I've been working in the this apartment area that we have above our garage and cleaning that out. So it's not an attic, but it's as dirty and dusty as an attic. So, and I did get a little bit of a sweat, so that kind of helps with our testing, just to see how either of these beaded up, dripped away, patched out, and you know, all the fun things that tinted moisturizers can do under certain, actually everyday life conditions. So we're gonna take a close look. Now remember, there is only primer through the T area, and there is not a powder, blush, powder, anything on top of the face area. There was just a little bit of bronzer around the outer edge. I actually stopped doing that because it wasn't enough. I didn't want to do enough to make a difference the way my face looked today. because then I would sort of have set this with powder, and that's not what we wanted to do. All in all, I think that the Colourpop side looks a little bit better to me. It just looks more blurred. In terms of where it held, did it hold any better where there was primer? It does not appear so. In fact, around my nose area and right around my lip area where I would have eaten and maybe wiped food off, it's not there. I wouldn't expect it to, but I didn't want to reapply anything so you guys could really see the difference. In terms of the True Match side, it did not wear uneven either. However, it is definitely settled into this area right around in my chin area. It just looks a little more orange peelish. And of course it settled into pores. These pores look a little, ding, ding, ding. There's the word pores again. I feel like we're in that. Have you guys ever seen that show, Watch What Happens Live, with Andy Cohen on Bravo? Every time they say a keyword that he highlights before the show, they have to take a shot. I feel like we should do that with every time I say the word pores in this video. We should all take a shot, but not really, because I don't know what time of the day you're watching this, and taking shots at this age there's nothing good can come from it. At this age, it's more like a shot of Metamucil or collagen protein powder. That one might be an interesting game at some point. Let me know in the comments what other shot we would take at, you know, 50 plus. Okay, so that's how I'm feeling about the two after 6.5 hours. I feel like this one has worn a little bit more to a position where I don't like it, how it looks at 6.5 hours. This one, if the color was right, the Colourpop would look, I think, fine. Neither side feels dry to me. This side does not feel hydrated and moist like it said it would on the L'Oreal side, but I don't feel like either side is dry feeling. So 6.5 hours for a tinted moisturizer. If you were to jazz it up a little bit with some bronze, some highlighter, a little bit of blush, they would probably both be fine. I kept them pretty simple today because I wanted to see how they wore without layers of stuff on them. That does it for day one. Let's take it to day two. All right, we are back to test day two. And as a reminder, you guys, I've already hydrated my skin. I put on a really nice moisturizer. Where's my moisturizer? Today I put on the L'Oreal Collagen Moisture Fill. I'll link this down below. I'm really enjoying this for the daytime. I will do an updated spring into summer skincare routine, so I've changed a few things as I don't need such an intense moisturizer coming out of more dry heat from inside the house, things like that. But I picked this one up and I've really enjoyed it. So I'll link that down below. Then I put on my sunscreen and let that absorb. And with that, we are ready to get started. Now for this review test, we're going to put both of these tinted moisturizers on with a kabuka brush. Now they're already pretty thin and light in coverage, so I don't want to apply them with a damp beauty sponge because typically that shears it out even more. The review earlier with my fingers, I felt like I wasn't able to get it blended out enough, and that may have been what led to the settling of the True Match Nude in some of these areas where I don't necessarily want any settling. Again, that didn't happen on the Colourpop side, so we're going to change up the application today just to see if we can overcome those small issues and make this still a really good contender. And we are going to put the powder in that T-zone area just to see, for those of you that might have more oily skin, those of you that have dry skin, we're gonna leave this area pretty dry. We will put just a touch of blush powder on top, but we'll be leaving this part down here really untouched, no primer, no setting powder, no setting spray, so that we can see how it's gonna wear if you didn't put anything on it at all, which would be great, so we just wanna get out the door and get going. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of this one. I'm gonna brush off any of the excess. I just want a little bit so that I'm not going too heavy, and apply it this way, even though the instructions from L'Oreal say to apply this with fingers. I just didn't find that it applied as well, and I am finding that I like the way this looks. It is the wrong color, I think. It is a little more orange, and this was 4.5, I think. So I may need to drop down into one that's maybe a little lighter. But again, this is my summer tinted moisturizer, and I do not have a summer neck yet, or summer hands, or summer anything else. So that could be part of the issue, but other than that, I think it wore really nice yesterday. I just want to make sure that we keep it thin right in this area where it tends to bunch up yesterday. So there's the final coverage. I'm gonna go and put a little bit of cream contour just to see how this wears, and some powder blush. So the cream contour, I usually like to undersculpt, but I thought for this way, more people do their products over the foundation, whether it's cream or powder. So I want to just give us the best chance of being as appealing to the widest audience as possible. And I'm just gonna go in and blend that out a little bit to see how it works on top of this tinted moisturizer. And I'm gonna take just a little bit of powder blush and put right on top of it so that we see how that wears with that little bit of powder right through there. And then we will do our under eye concealer. And for that, we're just gonna use a little bit of the e.l.f. I have a little bit of discoloration, so we're gonna go right up through the nose, right up through there, and then just a little tiny bit and blend that in. I'm gonna use the Angie Hot and Flashy A506 and really press that into our fine lines and wrinkles. Now this concealer, this e.l.f. concealer is more of a full coverage concealer. It is hydrating, and as I shared with you earlier, I reviewed this one. I really do like it. It lasts all day. It blends very easy, and it is a water-based also, so it blends well with this tinted moisturizer. Cut a nice sharp edge so that it looks like I gave a really excellent edge to my shadow today. And in terms of powder, I just want to go right through this T-zone area, right down the nose, and then a little bit on the chin. And I'm just gonna brighten up that under eye area just a little, and for that I'm gonna use Midnight Pretty Pink. Love this for an under eye brightening. It's just the right color. I'm more neutral to cool tone, so I like to just add a little bit of brightness underneath that eye area without adding a ton of powder, but really just set that e.l.f. concealer and press that in and out, and then fluff it out. So there's the True Match side. Moving over to the Colourpop side, I'm just gonna use one pump, I think is fine. Now in terms of reviews for the Colourpop, many people liked it for the length of time that it lasted in terms of the blurring and softness of their skin that it gave them. And it gave them a nice healthy type of a, not a glow, but just a nice skin, blurred imperfections. One reviewer did say though, I wanted to love this. I loved the texture, but I think I might have had an allergic reaction or something because when I applied it, seconds later, my face was burning. I liked the moussey feeling and the way I was able to set it, but it enhanced my pores and I can't find my right shade, and it just was awful for me. So just know that it's the only review I saw, and I went through several pages and I did not see any others that said it burned for them. I have not experienced any burning. I didn't yesterday when I reviewed these, and I haven't so far since I put it on. So just know though that some people have had that experience. Now we'll just carve out a little bit of shading and shadowing, and we'll do the concealer on this side, just a little bit through there. And you guys, this e.l.f. concealer, I have more purpley dark circles under my eyes, and for this not being a thick concealer, it's highly pigmented, but in the best way, so that it does give me good coverage of the dark circles without a thick look, and it conceals and brightens up that area nicely. So you can see what that looks like there. You can tell that this Pretty Face Colourpop is a lighter tinted moisturizer because this blush really shows up boom on it, where on this side it's not as strong of a contrast between the color payout of the blush and that tinted moisturizer. You guys, something about this Pretty Fresh, I hope that's coming in on the camera. It is a blurring type soft effect. So you know what, I would, if this was a primer, because I like a full coverage, if this was a primer, in fact, I might try to put a foundation over this because I love how soft and even textured my skin looks with this. It's just not enough coverage for me. It just looks more soft. It just looks more blurred, if that makes any sense. So now I'm gonna go and add that same translucent powder to the same areas where we are going to experience some oiliness. Hopefully we don't with this. And then we're gonna finish it off with a little bit of that midnight powder and go underneath my eyes to set that concealer. And if you wear glasses, be sure to add a setting powder right where your rims sit, as well as right through here on the bridge of your nose, so that you're creating a barrier between your foundation or tinted moisturizer and your lenses. And that helps alleviate those indentions or those lines that you'll start to see where your makeup has worn off or sort of slipped and gets a little bit greasy. And if you have oily skin, that tip is an absolute must. So here's where we are going into the review of day 2. Really nice looking tinted moisturizers on both sides. Good application. We've got set powder right through here and right through the T-zone. We also have that concealer right up through here, which is a cream product sitting on top of these tinted moisturizers. So we will see how they hold up. I'm gonna go ahead and finish my brows and I'll check in with you guys in a couple hours. At 8.5 hours later, I have to say both of these tinted moisturizers are holding up much better than I would have expected. and they're holding up better than some of the more expensive ones that I have reviewed in the past. So from all of that perspective, how well they wear, the pigmentation that they provide or don't provide, the way my skin feels hydrated and not dry, the finish that I still have, which is a little bit to the dewy side, it's not matte at all. There's no breaking through of oil from underneath in my T-zone. So check, 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 check. I have been really impressed with how these have held up. As you saw in the video from earlier today when I was outside, even in the sun, which is really an important part of any type of tinted moisturizer or any cosmetic, how they perform in a room, in the house, with lighting, how they perform under different types of lighting, because sometimes we have to go to the grocery store, sometimes we're in candlelight at the restaurant, sometimes we're outside, especially during summer. Our cosmetics have to look good, and I think both of these really, really held up. So taking a close look, I'm gonna zoom you guys in just so that you can see. I'm leaning in, but I'm gonna zoom the camera, and I don't know why I'm leaning in. Anyway, it's just been that kind of a day. What I love about both of them is they still look dewy. They both look radiant, which is the finish that they say that they have. The blush is still really nice on this side, and it's nice on this side too. It's just not as much of a contrast because that color of tinted moisturizer is a little bit darker, but it's still there. Up here where I had the concealer, it is still on nicely in both places. I don't feel like any of that cream product has bundled up. I don't feel like the texture has gotten uneven. I don't feel like it's faded much. So from that perspective, that is all good. I think if there's any critiquing, it would just be that right through here on both of them looks a little bit worn, but after you've eaten, you've used a napkin on your face, and I have not touched these up. I think that for $19 and $15, respectfully, they're holding up really, really nicely. And in the areas where we applied the powder, sort of through this T-zone area, it does not look as though those areas are patchy or dry, nor does the areas where I didn't apply any powder. Now remember, this section through here has no primer or powder. It is truly just moisturizer, sunscreen, and then the tinted moisturizer. So there's nothing setting it underneath or on top of it, and it's not worn down. And again, this is 8.5 hours later, so that's really, really impressive to me. I just feel like my skin looks like me, and there's not a lot of cover to it in terms of covering up my imperfections, but that's okay. In the summer, that's really more of what I want on a day-to-day. So when we break it down in terms of, you know, a face-off, this one, I don't love the application and I don't love the warmth of the color. This one, I don't love the different pricing that you get online, but that is an easy fix if you just go to Colourpop's website or Ulta or another direct retailer. They're both vegan, they both hydrate. This one's cruelty-free. They both have alcohol in the first 4 ingredients. They both lasted 8.5 hours. For me, the winner is this one. Because you get 50% more product for about the same price, and it's cruelty-free, and I think after 8.5 hours, it looks a little bit better than this one. But to be clear, you guys, you couldn't go wrong with either one of these, really. Whether you have oily skin, dry skin, combination skin, I think they're both really beautiful. This one, you might struggle trying to find the right undertone, but you can also go to L'Oreal's website and do their online color match, and that might take some of the guesswork out for you, so that if you do go purchase it at your local grocery store or drugstore or Ulta, for example, then you might find the right color the first time around. So that does it for me, you guys. Next week's Friday face-off, we're gonna stick with the tinted moisturizer type space. We're gonna go with the new Laura Mercier tinted moisturizer, over $50, not the small size. I wasn't willing to commit to the large one until I saw how, or against the Jones Road WTF, which claims to not be a tinted moisturizer or a foundation. It's in that middle category kind of by itself. So these two are going to be paired up, and we're gonna see how they do for those of you that like a more high-end tinted moisturizer. But unless those two perform some sort of miracle, I don't know how they can compete with either one of these. That does it for me, you guys. Thanks so much for watching. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with any of your friends that you think might be looking for a good tinted moisturizer that don't want to spend a fortune. I'll see you next time. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.